Disclaimer: the following Boundless PodTrap episode contains strong opinions that some listeners may and will find offensive. If you cannot accept or respect others with a differing opinion from yours, then fuck off.
Rolling sound.
I like turtles.
Shush!
Oh, righty.
Let me see your war face.
Now, y'all ain't planning on fucking these chickens, are you?
Picture it. Sicily, 1920.
Aren't we fucking funny?
Streaming from the Midwest, right in the middle of the U.S. From Omaha, Nebraska, you're listening to the Boundless PodTrap, your entertainment podcast where we touch on all topics, from the crazy and absurd to the sacred and profane, and even the useless and unnecessary. The Boundless PodTrap knows no bounds. And now, here are your hosts.
You gotta unmute us to let us come in. Oh wait, we are unmuted.
There it is.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Boundless PodTrap. Man, episode number 13.
That's unlucky, isn't it?
It's pretty unlucky, but we're
gonna try to play this one safe.
We are playing this one safe tonight.
We just had Friday the 13th.
We did.
This is the safe episode.
This is
The soft as fuck episode.
This is
S-A-F-E.
But before we get into the episode, how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I just got introduced back to Hall's Fruit Breezers, and I forgot how good they were.
Yeah, they suck for actually their purpose.
No, you are supposed to suck on them. So if you hear suckling noises, that's all of us because we have one in our mouth.
I mean it really does nothing, but it tastes good.
Yeah.
It gives you the false sensation that your throat will feel better. I
remember I got put down in the military for having charms, as they are. They're pretty much like these, like little lifesavers. When I was in boot camp, you're not supposed to have what they call it, like propaganda, or what is it called? I forget the word. Anyways, you can't have anything on you, so they checked my hat and all that, and I had it stuffed into my underwear. And I'm like, man, I shouldn't have been honest and put it into my hat and stuff like that, because you're supposed to put your stuff on the ground, and then everything that's in your pockets in your hat, and then they search you, and if they think you got something, it's in your ass. Well, no, they're in your ass. Not the charms weren't in my ass, but so yeah, I
riveting stuff.
I've never seen such a blank stare on your face before, Lonnie.
Riveting,
listening to that.
Riveting stuff. No, I mean, I don't doubt it. I watched this fucking YouTube clip once called The Black Friday. It was a Marines like boot camp video, and it was super fucked up. They had to like hold this piece of paper out in front of them. I don't know if it was their enlistment papers or what. But for like 15 hours or something completely unrealistic time, and if they, like, their arms started hurting and they dropped them, like 4, like, sergeants or whatever they were would come out and just fucking destroy them mentally and physically because they're like, it's just a piece of paper! Just because they couldn't hold it up. But
that's
like, you try holding your arms out straight, solid for X amount of hours.
After the 3-minute mark, you want to drop.
Right?
I couldn't survive boot camp. I mean, I barely survived band
camp.
You can. These, I guess, after I got out, they started like this red card or green card type of thing. It's pretty much like, I'm feeling very stressed. It's a stress card, pretty much. Of course they did.
Yeah,
and they're like, yeah, if it's too much pressure, you can stop and go to your parents call.
Is that the participation trophy of the Army?
I think it's. I don't know if the Army adapted it from like the other, because I mean, everybody knows how the ranking goes.
Right.
Got the Air Force, Navy, Army, then Marines, but
and then the Canadian Green Berets.
Those two.
A?
What?
A? You don't fuck with those guys. Like, there's 2 mean men in Canada. They are the Green Berets of Canada. They just got fucked over one too many times at Tim Hortons. And they're like, rah!
Hey, Mountie.
The Mountie. I was just going to bring up the Mountie from WWF.
I'm
the Mountie.
I'm the Mountie.
Brendan Fraser's.
So we got... We've got Thanksgiving coming up this Thursday. Are you guys doing anything?
No, because I don't want to die of corona.
That's true.
But that's what you're supposed to do.
And I don't like my family enough to go sit with them. Like, I want to survive more than I want to argue with my parents about fucking politics and, like, potentially dying of a pandemic.
Now the government's saying that we're not supposed to go and give diseases to people on Thanksgiving Day.
Well, you're supposed to wear a mask in your own house, too. The only time you take it off is when you're eating. Now, I think that might be a little too... If you're having people over, other people, yeah, maybe. But, like, with me, it's just going to... Normally, it's my whole family, like cousins, aunts, uncles, type things like that. I think there's, like, usually, like, 30 of us or so at my cousin's house.
Fucking humble brag over here.
But, yeah, this year, we're not doing that. It's just going to be my mom, sisters, niece, nephews, brother-in-law. I think, and my one aunt might be celebrating, but yeah, it's one of my cousins actually tested positive for COVID.
Jesus.
And I think
did they study?
I think he said that he got it on like a church thing.
Of course he did.
That's usually where you get it.
Yeah, but it's actually his house that we would normally have Thanksgiving
at. No, fuck that.
Luckily we had
ground zero.
We had canceled it before that, so yeah. It's scary stuff, you know.
You know what I love about COVID, I think the most? It's a great excuse where you don't have to say, no, I'm not going to go because I don't like you. Now you can just be like, COVID.
Yeah, I really, you know, aside from this, going to the grocery store, going to work, and making movies.
Right. Speaking of making movies, we made a movie this weekend.
We did. Principal Photography. We got done on Saturday.
Yeah.
That was a very smooth shoot.
A little too smooth.
Well, that's what happens, you know, when everybody's on point.
All right. It was a great cast, great crew.
Always ahead of schedule, which is rare on a movie set.
I was awesome.
You did great.
You did.
You did.
You showed up early.
You were the only one.
Was it early? Earlier than I said.
You were the only one brave enough to stand on the top of the ladder. So, good on you.
That's where
I mean, I don't know if you were shitting your pants or not. I wouldn't have fucking do it.
I had a muscle cramp.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you're the only one who would have got that too, because I don't have muscles.
So I'm gonna have to give you a cinematographer credit.
Yeah,
and the pay that comes with it.
No,
sure,
okay, sure.
Yeah,
I'll give you exactly what I gave the other cinematographer.
Yes, pat on the back. But no, it was great. Yeah,
it was.
The crew did great. The cast. Oh God, the cast. Can't say enough about Vernon Wheeler and Kate Pryor.
No, and that's like I said, it's rare to be ahead of schedule the whole time,
right?
To get everything. And I was watching the footage, and man, it looks great.
Best drama we've ever shot. Winky face.
Only drama I've ever shot.
This is all thanks to Sir Lonnie.
Yeah,
this is his baby.
Yeah, it was. You know, and I've had, and I'm not patting myself on the back here, but I've had stories published. I've had, you know, all that. But
you opened it up.
Yeah, no. And I have a giant penis, but I've never. It's a different story seeing your work come to film, and like I think anybody could have done it. Anyone could have acted in it, and I would have been super happy. But to have Jeremy directing it and having Vernon and Kate bringing those characters to life, I couldn't ask for a better situation.
And I'm sorry that we couldn't cast the original person you had in mind for the male part of James, Bill Cosby. We tried, but I think he's a little preoccupied with some things right now.
Yeah,
he's a little tied up.
So,
but
yeah, that was it was great. We now have two short films completed.
Yeah,
at least filmed. For Shorty Films.
Both in post-production.
I have taken on the task of editing our first one. And for those of you that don't know, editing is not my
strong suit.
Editing video, yeah, I'm okay with that. I've practiced enough. It's the editing the audio that has been the challenge. And I've watched some videos and I've been practicing. And I mean, you guys You guys have seen clips of like the first. I've got like the first 10 minutes of the first one.
I've seen some videos you've edited. You just throw some music.
Oh
over
yeah, and those videos have helped me get to where I'm at today. So
there was no porn in any of those videos, but there was lots of nakedness.
Justin's ass.
Thank you.
And Justin with a sock on his pee-pee.
That sock though, I'm still irritated about the double fork tongue sock.
That was weird. I thought he had a mitten on.
They're called tabby socks. They're ninja socks.
Of course they are.
Technically a kitten mitten.
If you guys want to learn interesting things, hang out with Justin, because some of the things he brings to the table, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
So for Halloween, quick little story. For Halloween, we spend a lot of our time on our Thursday nights. We go with a local actor. His name is Charles Martin, and he's never going to hear this, so he doesn't listen to us like a lot of people don't. But we go over to his house and we watch movies. Well, for October, we decided we were going to watch horror movies, and I brought a movie which
95% horror.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this fucker. I brought a movie which is classified horror. Jeremy threw a stink fit that it wasn't horror. Fucking Justin here brings a kung fu movie.
That was horror.
That was
There's ghosts
95% kung fu.
No, his was along the lines of horror.
Whatever.
Yours is a freaking... It had gore in it, but it was like an action movie. I wouldn't...
Action? There was no fighting in the movie. It had fucking kung fu.
Plus, it has Vince Vaughn, and Vince Vaughn is not a horror actor. So, and I'm not saying your movie wasn't good. It was great, but it wasn't along the lines of what I had said. Like, October, we're going to watch horror movies. Like, I meant like zombies or Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, not a guy that went to jail and just breaks people's bones and there's nothing ghostly about it.
What about Maniac Cop? Like, that was literally a cop who killed people.
Well, you notice we didn't watch that, so we're good.
Anyway.
You got it slated for next year.
Yeah. Okay. So are you boys ready to go on to the soft as fuck episode?
I think so. I can smell the potpourri.
There is actually a smell of something in here, fruitiness.
It's summer, spring, raspberry.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, winter. I don't know. It's on there. What's that top one say? No, the box, the smell thing. No, the candle thingies.
This is taking way too long for us to find out what the scent is in here. Yeah. I don't give a shit if it's summer breeze,
it's
winter
over the
fart.
Rainbow.
Over the rainbow.
Better Homes and Garden.
Yeah. Oh, fellas, before we get started on our super soft episode, I need you guys to do something for me real quick.
Again? My jaw still hurts.
I have a couple of envelopes here. And one is labeled 1 and one is labeled 2.
This checks out.
Now, I don't know. Well, I know what's in the envelopes, but I don't know what is in 1 or 2. You guys have to agree on an envelope.
2, because it's a poop. Poop is number 2.
And that is sometimes soft.
Yeah.
Poop is sometimes...
So you guys want to go with number 2?
Let's do a soft stool.
Okay, so you positive. I can open up 1.
I like 2.
I think he should open up 1 that is 2.
You want me? Okay.
1 envelope that is 2.
So I'm opening up envelope 2.
Not that one.
This 2?
Okay. I was just fucking with you.
You're opening it like Johnny Carson.
Yeah. And the winner is...
When you did the Great Karnak. I don't...
Twist.
Oh, yeah. Twist, motherfucker.
So go ahead and pull that paper off that board there.
I feel like both of them said twist, motherfucker.
Nope.
Was he gonna... Oh. That's how I would have done it if I wanted to just go one way. Super soft up. Oh, we're not gonna do the... Aw.
So go ahead and pull that paper off there for me, friends.
So I'm basically gonna be... quiet for the majority of this because I don't know any of that shit.
So I revealed the paper and it's titled Super Dark. This is a super dark episode?
This is a super dark episode.
Huh. I commend you. You did pretty much 2 podcasts, study for...
I did.
For nothing.
2 congruent episodes.
That kind of pisses me off because I did all this research today for the super soft episode. And
well, we just had bad luck right after Friday
now that's
the 13th.
down the garbage.
No, you're just keeping it, and I'm doing that next one.
Oh.
Well, I can already tell you that the game I'm going to lose. And
no, you won't. It's super easy.
All right. So we're going to kick this off then. Super dark episode. We're not going soft. We're getting hard. Wait. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Getting ahead of myself.
Ben.
So yes, super dark episode. I took the complete opposite of everything in my super soft episode, and I turned it dark.
But we're still reviewing Homeward Bound.
I did watch that, and that movie, I forgot how much fucking animal cruelty there is in fucking Homeward Bound.
Yeah, are we reviewing that? I guess there was 27 kittens that died, supposedly died. Remember the animal rights activists were trying to shut that movie down? And yeah.
They didn't do a good job of it.
Yeah, not so much.
29 was that her name? Sassy?
Sassy, yeah.
Died.
I don't know about 29. Was that what you...
I thought that's what you just said.
I said 27 kittens.
Oh.
I guess Sassy was played by 10 different kittens, and
the other ones on the side just died from...
Sassy!
Well, both of the dogs were played by 4 different dogs, but I guess it's hard to get
And they all sounded like Michael J. Fox. That's weird.
It's hard to get a kitty to do what you want. I'm not going anywhere.
All right, let's get dark.
All right. Anyway, first segment of the night is, what are your guys' favorite demon possession movies or stories? I know we had this discussion because we watched, what was that fucking movie that we all watched? Oh, fuck.
Rigor Mortis?
No, it's about the Cleansing Hour.
Oh, the Cleansing Hour.
Yeah.
And we all had very different opinions on the Cleansing Hour on scales of how we thought about it. And you gave it a 10 out of 10.
I did.
Which boggles my mind because it was a 5 at best.
What? I think the way that they rode the suspense and the actors...
Rode the suspense? Yeah. She was fucking possessed within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, but the way... well,
that's
they kept
not
it up.
Suspense.
It was a reveal after reveal after
they
reveal.
kept nothing up. It was this is what this movie is about. 10 minutes later, she's fucking possessed. That's not keeping anything up. That's here's the plot of the movie. Shitty demon possession.
And then at the final ending, that's what Jeremy hated the worst because of the CGI, I guess.
Yeah. I lean more towards like Lonnie's end of the spectrum with, I definitely wouldn't give it a 10.
Lonnie's not on the spectrum.
I'd give it more of a 5 or 6. It was, I don't know. It was different, but I thought it was forced. Like trying to make it edgy to fit today's times with social media and stuff. My biggest gripe that I didn't like about the movie was when they would do the cutaways to all the people that were watching the live stream. And it's like, every time they do that, they'd have to add humor. I'm like, why would you build up this suspense and all this stuff only to have it taken away by
a little laugh,
a ill-timed joke that wasn't even written bad or great. And it was,
because it's easier to build it back up instead of topping. But
why would you tear it down to build it back up?
Right.
And
it should just start good and end good. Like, demonic possession movies have to start at a pace that's going to hold your attention the whole time. Like, if you look at the godfather of exorcism movies, The Exorcist, it starts at a pace and it keeps that pace but slowly builds the whole time. Like, if you notice, Reagan's possessed within the first 30 minutes but doesn't build till Pazuzu.
I would say that's my biggest gripe with The Exorcist. That would be my favorite possession movie though, because it was the only movie that scared me. But my biggest gripe with that is it took so long to get there.
Yeah.
Like it was such a slow build, and I'm like, yeah, there's like so much of this that could have just been cut out.
Right. The animal rights activists were trying to get that movie.
Shut the same ones.
Same ones from Homeward Bound. Well, the thing about what a lot of people don't realize about The Exorcist is that wasn't what you think it was about. Like, that movie is actually
a love story.
Fuck you. Well, almost in essence, you're not wrong. The movie was a fight between Pazuzu and
Father O'Malley.
Yeah. Like, it was his endless fight against Pazuzu. Like, because it starts in Israel or Iran and ramps up from there. That part at the beginning you think is worthless is so crucial to the whole movie. Like, all the stuff happening with Karis and Reagan is pretty much throwaway crap. It's just watching Reagan evolve into her Super Saiyan form. But the movie is, in essence, about O'Malley and Pazuzu.
I don't think it was O'Malley. Was it O'Malley? I was just saying O'Malley.
Oh, you fuck.
I think that movie, like, you can't shoot a movie like that nowadays, like with how they did things, because that part where Reagan was like actually
by the wires,
like flipping up and down, she like actually broke her back.
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
Linda Blair broke her back, and it's like
fucked up a child actor for life.
But the thing was, because she was saying like those screams are real in that scene,
right?
I mean, it's great because it looked real, and again, it's practical stuff. But I know, like, I'm surprised they didn't put a stunt person in there for that part.
Yeah, even still, just moving around like that. I see some movies that I watch, like these Thai movies and stuff. Like, those stuntmen are only there for like that 1 or 2 films, and then their career's over because they're done.
What about the exorcism of Emily Rose? So that was based on a true event.
That's a fucked up one. Like, it's just BS. It's pretty much the true event was pretty much child abuse.
Yeah, it was the starvation of a child who had
not only that, but just
obvious mental defects,
and they didn't know how to treat it or distinguish what is, the fact from the whatever.
I saw that movie when it first came out, and I don't remember much about it.
It's got a Jennifer Carpenter in there from one of the movies we just watched with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And that was great. Like, the movie itself was fantastic. The way they shot it, half in the courtroom, and then the evidence is the story itself. And I kind of like that. It kind of gave it a surrealism, taking you out of the moment. It kind of made it feel real, but Carpenter had an ability to do that because she was in the American version of Quarantine,
right?
The record. Yeah.
There was that part where she was just like jumping up and down on her knees, like
jumping
up and then landing her knees onto the ground. And I was like, ow. Like, you remember when we were younger and we used to just like flop down in front of the TV on our knees? It's like nowadays, it's like, we can't do that.
Oh,
I can't even bend over to tie my shoes without making like weird noises and stuff. You think I'm going to jump down on my knees? Get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like other possession movies. I don't know. I haven't really seen many of them. I'm not a big fan of them, but
there could be stories as well. Yeah.
This doesn't necessarily go into the full horror, but the concept is amazing. There's I've known him from like a YouTuber, but he created a comic book called Demon, and like he's pretty much a demon, and it's a bloodline type of thing. It's kind of cool. Like, it starts off, the guy goes into this hotel and he's trying to be, conscientious of like the people he's going to clean up. So he shoots himself, and then he wakes up in a bed and he's like, what the fuck? Like, I just, and then he goes into the bathroom and hangs himself. Then he wakes up into the bed and wakes up again. And then like, after a few suicides, he looks into the mirror and like, he doesn't see himself. He sees a different person. And the concept pretty much is every time he dies, his body goes into the next closest body. So there's a part where he gets taken in and arrested, and he kills himself and becomes like a cellmate with an open, cell. And it's a fast-paced comic, but it's really cool.
Yeah. If you're a fan of the Supernatural franchise, a good chunk of that whole franchise is based on possession. Just different people being possessed by lower level demons and higher level demons, and they take a lot of substance from actual mythology and actual demonology, and it's the concept is there and the work is done, but they really don't take any actual steps to verify it. They're just like, oh, cool, this is a demon's name, let's do that. So I mean, it's there, but it's not there. But it's still cool show. I dig it. Ending this year after 15 seasons.
I got to catch up. I'm probably like 7 seasons in.
So there was, I believe it was the show 2020. This would have been back in the early 90s. but I remember they did a episode on exorcisms, and they actually went to this girl that was supposedly possessed by the demon, and they had a camera crew go when they were trying to perform the exorcism. And I remember that thing being the creepiest thing I ever saw as a kid. Like it haunted me. And I've looked to try to find that on YouTube or anywhere online, and I cannot find it. But
isn't that TV show hosted by the old Superman from Clark Kent called Fact or Fiction?
The fuck are you talking about?
This would have been 2020 or something back, like I said, in the early 90s, like 91, 92, maybe.
It's not 2020.
But it was like they actually had like this girl sitting there, and like her voice would change into like this deep satanic voice, and man, like it was just creepy as shit. And you know, I wonder if it doesn't exist and I can't find it because A, maybe it wasn't 2020, or B, they found out it was bullshit, so they had to like scrap it.
And that's great, because that kind of leads me into our second topic.
Exactly why I said it.
That leads us into, do you believe in exorcisms, or is that something that you think the Catholic Church or Catholicism in itself is pushing on people? Because, and we'll get into this later, it's just Satanism in general. Do you think exorcisms are another way of religion to push the idea of Satan onto people?
I think it's more of a push. I mean, one of their biggest tools, one of religion's biggest tools is fear.
Yeah, because they don't, a lot of cases you can look at and see that something that could easily be viewed as like a mental disability or psychosis or an emotional breakdown,
most
they
stories
verify as demon possession, and they need an exorcism.
Yeah, most stories I know of, like people being possessed, is pretty much from the religious, viewpoint, I guess.
Well, of course, yeah.
It's like, I don't know any atheists or anybody who's been possessed.
Well, and the thing with possessions and exorcisms, I'm sure non-religious people know the rights to an exorcism, but most people who have the right to exorcise people are from the higher levels of the Catholic Church. They have to go through courses, and they have to be higher up in the echelons of
Let's go in unison.
Church.
On 3, we're all going to say the Lord's Prayer.
I don't know what that is.
This isn't going to help us then.
Aren't you Buddhist?
Depends. Sometimes.
That statue in your front yard, that giant statue, says otherwise.
Or he could really just like fat men.
That's true.
That could be why we get along so well.
Just saying.
You should covet me more.
But
rub your belly for good luck.
We're not bald, though. Our producer is.
Sometimes.
But no, like, do you believe exorcism is real, though?
I don't necessarily believe that, which is weird, because I believe in ghosts. I believe in paranormal activity type stuff, but I don't know that I fully believe in possessions. I don't know. I don't think there's been any real solid evidence of an actual possession.
I think the only possession that I kind of believe in, if you want to call it possession, is more manipulation and or symbiotic possession, which are, like insects kind of like take over, like little symbiotes kind of take over like ants and control them to do things. That's kind of a form of possession. But as far as like demonic possession, I don't think we actually have any proof of anything. I think that's what people want to cling to because it's a culture they grew up in. It's like, I don't have any other evidence for anything else, so it has to be this. So they're just reverting to it instead of, they want to slap a label to it.
It's not a bad explanation. Now, going off something you said about you believing in ghosts, what would you, if you don't believe in the demonic side of things, what would you classify a ghost then?
I don't know. I really don't. I've never really studied up on it, but
why are they always pissed off though?
I've had
stop slamming cabinets.
I've had a lot of experiences, and I've never really had any that were like threatening. and like I felt like they were coming after me or anything like that. But I don't know. I do believe that I think that there's people that have died and are going to the afterlife or whatever. I do believe that those that have unfinished business are kind of kept here, and that they have to figure things out before they can, or set things right, or figure things out before they can pass on. And that's
usually that's usually like the legend too. It's like, what was that one movie, with the little kids and stuff, with the Tom Cruise's ex-wife?
Which one?
Katie Holmes?
Not that one.
Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, Kidman. Sorry, I was about to say that one. But it's like all these, they haven't figured out their shit after, 100, 200 years? It's like, you guys aren't even trying. Figure it out.
Well, and that goes in with the thing that a lot of ghosts could not realize they're dead. Like, they could just be living their regular lives.
Ask Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
You think you're just phasing through walls? Like, that's real? Like, that's...
Scariest thing about that movie was Bruce Willis's hairpiece. So,
like, one thing we've talked about this before, not on the podcast. At least I don't think so. But 11/11.
Yeah.
I see that pretty much every single day of my life for the last 15 years or so. It's been 10 plus years, maybe 12 years, 15 years.
What does it mean? It usually means...
There's a lot.
It usually means, for me, 41 more minutes until lunchtime.
Fucker.
So there's a lot of things out there about 11/11 and 1/11. A lot of people think it's like good luck. You're like, make a wish. No, I don't believe that. I believe that something I've read was that when you see 11/11, and not like just once, like repeatedly, like I do, and I'm not talking to where you look at the clock and it's 11:09. You look back, it's 11:09. You look back again, it's 11:10. Then you look back and it's 11:09. I'm talking about you're so wrapped up in your life, and you just randomly are like, oh, I gotta check to see what time it is. Boom, it's 11:11. Which, like I said, almost every single day of my life. So if you see that consistently, you're supposed to. It's the people that are trapped in the netherworld that have died, but they have not yet passed on to the afterlife. And they are trying to communicate with you because there's something about you that you can help them. And you're supposed to ask what it is you can do to help them. And they will communicate with you in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through a dream or an object or whatever, and you're just going to know. And so I started seeing this back in about probably 2007 time frame, so about 13 years ago. And I had asked once I read into it, and I don't know that I really had them come to me in a dream or whatever, but that was at the time when I was really getting into filmmaking, and I thought, shit, maybe that's it. Maybe I need to make a movie about this to help get other people educated about it. And I had thought to myself, I wonder when November 11th, 2011 would be, because that'd be 11/11/11. And this is back when movies would come out on Fridays. November 11th, 2011 was a Friday.
Friday.
Yeah. So I had thought to myself, this is it. I need to write the script. I need to make this happen. Obviously that didn't happen, but, and they're probably pissed about that because here it is 13 years later and I'm still.
And they've been procrastinating about haunting you ever since.
Man, I mean, it's crazy. And so that's kind of like how I feel. I'm like, it's crazy because I literally see those numbers almost every single day. And I remember once I worked at the grocery store Fairway.
Okay.
And our carts were numbered. And we had a cart that was 111. That cart would haunt me. Like, I would see it. I'd turn the corner to go in the back stock room. There it was. Just sitting there, nothing in it. So I'd take it up front and I'd put it in the middle of all these carts because I'm like, all right, it's going to be here for a while. Like an hour later, it's in the back again. There was one time when I opened the produce cooler after I literally almost just walked it up there probably like an hour ago, and it's in the freaking cooler, the produce cooler, just staring at me when I opened the door. And I'm like, I'm about to burn this cart because it is literally haunting me. And nobody knew at the time. Nobody that I worked with was like, didn't tell them about that. So it wasn't like somebody was fucking with me.
Hey, open that door.
I would shit. You would hear me scream so high pitched.
Here's your birthday. We got
There's
you a
a
shopping cart.
I forget what the name of the effect is, but like it's something about when you're more aware of something, and it's kind of like your brain is automatically looking for it. It's like, oh, I just am looking for like a new car, and I kind of like this, and then now when I'm driving, I see that car everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that because I see a lot more Mini Coopers now that I'm driving one and hate it.
You hate the Cooper.
Do you feel like you should have like 3 red balls spinning around you, like Mario Kart?
Oh, I was like, where are you going with this?
Like, let's see where this goes.
Tossing out banana peels.
I hate. We all have small cars, but
Yeah, it's sad. I have the biggest car, and I have a Ford Focus.
you too.
I drive a party.
Fiesta.
Arriba!
I know what you're doing. You know who else drives a Fiesta? I'll give you one guess.
Paco, Paco, que mi Paco, 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 Paco. Paco, 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 que mi Paco, 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 Paco.
He's on his 3rd Fiesta. That's the only car
Jeez.
that he's drove his whole life
It's because he flipped his last one.
with his hands.
He gets like 300,000 miles on it and then goes trade it in for a new Fiesta.
The best thing I like about our type of cars is we usually always have a parking spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the worst thing about our fucking cars, we're always
Everything.
between 2 bigger cars, so you can never see it in a fucking parking lot.
Yeah.
So you're like, where's our car? Fuck.
I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I pull into a parking spot between 2 cars,
Just leave it
with my
halfway
car,
out.
you can like, if you pull all the way forward, I mean, there's still like a good 6-foot gap between the end of the parking spot and the back of your car. I don't pull in all the way because my fear is that somebody's going to be coming up. Oh, there's an empty parking spot, and zoom, and then slam on their brakes and smash into the back of my car. So I always park with my ass a little bit farther out, just like in real life.
Shake that booty out.
Possessions. So back to
Get a car to ghost. So pretty much what you're saying about your whole film thing is you got unfinished business to do, so you don't want to be a ghost. So you got to do that now.
the movie.
Yeah, sure.
I can't because somebody already came out with an 11/11
Yeah,
movie,
and it was fucking terrible.
It was, and it was basically the same concept. I mean, I would have made it a lot better, but it was along the lines of
Then do the 3:00 one. That can be overdone.
3.
Yeah, that's the witching hour, the devil's hour.
We'll leave that up to Lonnie since he worships the devil.
Do you want to?
We'll get there.
This podcast is going to last till 3:00 in the morning, so let's see if we see any demons.
Paco, let me.
Well, speaking of ghosts, you kind of went into our next topic, the ghost, and Jeremy, obviously, from what you said, you believe in ghosts. There's no question about that at all.
100%.
Justin, do you believe in ghosts?
Not so much.
Get the fuck out of my face.
Fuck! You always got to be different, you son of a bitch!
I'm sorry. It's just I feel like most things can be explained.
Aren't you Buddhist? Isn't your whole religion based on ghosts?
He only said that because it's scripted. See, it says right here that he's got.
No, I mean, well, I guess
I
when it
sent
comes
you
to,
guys the transcripts to this like 20 minutes ago when we started.
Does it
When it
sound
comes
like
to-
I'm reading?
there's a lot of like misconceptions. Am I using the right word there? Misconceptions?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, when it
Depends
comes
on
to,
what
like-
the next part of your sentence is.
When it
that
comes
makes sense
to-
or not.
Contraception.
Yeah, that's it. Miscontraceptions. You don't want any of those.
Prophylactics. Sorry.
See, allow me to ejaculate myself a little bit more. See, no. I guess like when it comes to like Buddhism, I mean, like a lot of people believe in like reincarnation. I find the idea fascinating, but I don't have like a.
That has fucking nothing to do with the question I asked you.
Yeah, but you're talking about ghosts and stuff, and it's not necessarily ghosts, you know.
Go on.
So what
Yeah.
makes you not believe in ghosts?
I feel like most stories actually have
How
a
do you,
logical reason.
how do you explain orbs in pictures? They're not dust particles.
Do you have any ghost stories you want to tell us?
I had a bullshit one.
You don't have any real ghost stories?
I don't know if it was real. Well, actually, we know it's not real.
Huh?
So we snuck into this place. It's kind of like a little castle. It's not a real castle. It's kind of like a mini castle up the street from where.
Eureka's Castle,
No,
which was on my topics
that was
for
mine
today.
too. It's right there. But yeah, one of the girls we were with, she had like a zip up hoodie type of thing.
Okay.
And she said when we were going up like these circling staircases, she says she felt somebody push her. And
Did you push her?
No. But suppose her story has changed, and I was there when it happened. But I've heard her recount her story, and it seems to get different every single time. I'm like, nobody pushed you, and you know, she's like, when we got down, and you know, she unzipped her hoodie and stuff, and like she was probably wearing like a spaghetti strap or something that showed like her chest. Nice. And she's like, there was a marking that was on her chest, and then that story became there was a handprint that was on her chest, and then that story became there was like a bloody handprint that was on her chest. I'm like, no, none of that happened.
Then it turned into Bill Cosby's hand was on her chest.
I can't.
No, that's Fred Durst.
It was really good though.
Yeah. So that was probably what would have been one of the most scariest things. It depends on if I'm telling it or if she's telling it.
There's one story that I would tell, but I don't share this story often. I only share it with people that I actually care about. So not that I don't care about our listeners, but I'm not going to tell that one because it's someday maybe. But right now I don't feel like telling that story because it's very personal.
Are you going to cry?
Tell it like Justin told it and be like, my friend had a ghost handprint on her chest, but she didn't.
I will. Like my buddies and I, we used to go ghost hunting. This was after high school. Of course, we wouldn't do that now because they were older and they all have families, and I'm still the same as I was in high school. No girlfriend, no wife, kids.
Your homies?
But we would go ghost hunting at cemeteries, and you know, this was back before the technology of iPhones and stuff like that. So we were old school. We had the tape recorders, you know, like you see in the Saw movies that he leaves for his victims to play or listen to. We take those and we'd get disposable cameras and whatnot. We'd go to cemeteries at night.
Old school.
Yeah, I'm telling you. You know, we did a lot of research and stuff on it. And, you know, sometimes we were told that, you know, it's not always the best to have your recorder with you. You should go to this place where you feel there's activity, ask it some questions, and then leave it there. And a lot of times that's when the spirit will manifest and
switch out the tape.
Yes, and switch out the tape.
Spirits, I hate that.
So we were at Graceland Cemetery on 50th and L in the middle of the night. And so my buddy left his. He asked some questions and he left it by some headstones and stuff. Sounds like the end of Mannheim Steamrollers Christmas song thing. And so my tape recorder I kept with us because it was fun and it was fun to listen to that stuff. So when we got back or we got done, we were in the car. We were listening to the tape recorder, and it was actually on my tape recorder that was with us the whole time. I remember there was this little headstone and it had 1919 for the date on it. And I have just said, because it was such a small headstone, I'm like, is there a little kid down there? And of course you don't hear anything when you're there. And we were those kind of people like on the Ghost Taps team where they try to debunk everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If we heard somebody sneeze off in the distance or we heard like some kind of horn or whatever, we would say, just for the record, that noise you just heard was this. And we weren't trying to become famous or anything. We just wanted to catch ghosts on stuff. But after I say, is there a little kid down there? We're all in the car and I'm listening to it. And clear as day, after I say, is there a little kid down there? You hear a voice go, help. And we all, like my buddy that was sitting next to me, he like looked at me and I looked and I rewound it. And then I'm telling everybody in the car, I'm like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And we listened to it. And as we played it again, it said, help me. All of our eyes started to water like uncontrollably at the same time. And then another time was we went to a cemetery where my buddy's grandma was buried at. And so
live or
this guy can never be serious. He's always got a joking because he doesn't believe in anything but a fat bald guy. And I'm not talking about a producer. So he's talking, having a conversation, or asking questions to his grandma. I shouldn't say having a conversation with her. And again, nothing. But when we listen it back as he's talking to her, you hear music in the background from like those first record, monophone, whatever they're called.
The tubes?
Yeah, that had the big tube coming out of it. And it was playing like some like old school 20s style music. And, you know, when I heard it and I played it back for him, He said that was basically when he would go to her house when he was a little kid. Those were the memories he had, was that kind of music was playing. And so, again, we would have heard that music if we were there, and we would have said something. How do you explain something like that? And I'm posing this question to you, Justin, because don't you dare hit any sound effect. Keeping in mind that this is somebody's loved one who has passed on. How do you explain that?
Sorry.
Sometimes I wonder about this guy.
The tape was switched. That's
How the fuck do you switch a tape out?
Well, you open it, you press eject,
and you magically get all of his conversation that was on the tape that they supposedly took out.
It's like backmasking. That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm. With a cheap mini cassette tape.
You put a piece of tape over the top part, the little holes.
No, you can't explain that. You cannot explain something like that. That's
Maybe
just, and it's not our imagination, because I literally did not say anything to him when I played it back, because I wasn't going to be like, now when you ask her this question at this part right here, you're going to hear music playing. Right. I just played it for him, this whole conversation, and when it got to that part, he stopped and he looked and was fuck.
And that's the biggest thing about ghosts and the paranormal kind of stuff. It's not trying to lead people to it. It's trying to lead people away from it. And like you said, you go to debunk things, and that's what a lot of people should be doing. It's not. You're not supposed to go in and be like, this place is so haunted, because that's not good for humanity.
The door shut. That was a ghost.
Right.
Could have been that door that was open with the wind coming through that.
Right. Because who wants to go into a place and go, yeah, this place is totally haunted by my dead grandmother? Like, who wants to think their grandmother is left on this earth?
There are certain areas, that just feel haunted because, you get chills and stuff walking in like old homes or certain structures, but certain even natural carved, like, what do you call it? Like the
hardwood stuff.
Well, yeah, and like river flow, water damage and stuff like that, just creating different avenues. Wind kind of goes through a tree differently, makes elements. Like a little whistle, or like there's certain frequencies that kind of resonate and kind of gives you like a creepy feeling. Like they're like little senses that we can't necessarily hear or pinpoint, but they're there. We can use devices to locate them, I guess.
Right. I'm in your boat. I think 98% of the time, I don't think ghosts exist. I think there's a logical explanation for most people's reasoning why ghosts exist. But there's 2%, and I say this because I've been ghost hunting, not seriously. Obviously, as an 11-year-old kid, you really can't say you're a serious ghost hunter. But I have been ghost hunting since I've been 11 years old, and I'm 36 years old.
He said it
twice.
Yeah, but no, I'm 36, and I've been hunting ghosts on and off for the 25 years.
What do you mean hunting?
Legitimately trying to find an explanation.
Hunting as in killing them?
If I could catch them, I would put them in a trap and put them in our containment unit. But there's been 2 cases. There's been 2 cases. One I will talk about, and one I will not talk about, and I will talk about it off the podcast. It's like Jeremy's. It's way too personal. I love everyone who listens to the podcast, and thank you very much, but it is not something I'm openly going to talk about on the podcast.
We have ways of making you talk.
I will tell you gladly after the podcast.
I will record it.
I will even show you
and insert it into the podcast.
I will play it for you when we're off the podcast. But the one I will talk about is there was a book that came out called Iowa's Haunted Road Trip, or Iowa's Haunted Location Road Trip Guide. And it was this gentleman who came to the Southridge Mall in Des Moines, Iowa. And he just had this book that talked about all the haunted places in Iowa. And I went to his book signing, and we talked, and we became friends. And he was a pretty cool guy. He understands what he does. Was kind of hit or miss to the right crowd. I think there was like 7 people at his book signing.
Rolling in it.
But yeah, basically. And it was the time of, was it fucking Yahoo Messenger?
Yahoo!
Yeah. So we chat now and then.
Lycos, go get it.
Yeah. We chat now and then, and I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna start going down your book list. And he's like, awesome. Like, let me know if you see anything cool. Send me a picture, send me a story, whatever. So we started going down that list. And every time we got to like a city location that was like publicly owned, we would call the city sheriff or the city council board and say, hey, we're doing this, just to be official. And it was a small town called Madrid, Iowa. It's little north of Des Moines, but south of Ames in that like no-go area. So we called the city council, and they said we needed to talk to the sheriff. Well, we called the sheriff. It turns out he was a huge Ghost Hunters fan, which everybody really was in the 2005 to 2008 time frame.
Except for Justin.
Except for Justin, because he's no fun. You lost your no fun, right?
I know.
Went right down to Justin.
How does it feel, fuckface?
I was enlisted.
Yeah, he was too busy actually leading a scary life. Anyway, so we called the sheriff. He was super cool. He loved everything about it. He was like, so yeah, I know what you're talking about. A lot of people go there. Thank you for calling me. So when I'm making my rounds at night and I see people with flashlights in a cemetery, I'll know it's you guys and I won't come and bug you. He's like, what's your license plate number? What kind of car you're driving? So if I drive by and see it, I'll just keep going. He's like, but the cemetery you're going to isn't anything special. He's like, if you want, there's another one. It's right outside of town. You drive through town, you make a right, and you drive a little bit out of town, and it's called Mount Hope Cemetery. It's little ma and pa. It's on the right side of the road as you're driving. He's like, it's super cool. It's super creepy. There's only about 50 headstones there, but I've seen some shit. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, because I have to patrol, because I'm a sheriff. I have to patrol all of that. Okay, cool. So I don't know how many times driving up this county road, how many times we missed it. But we're driving, and we finally see it. We were ready to give up, because every time we'd drive by it, we'd turn around, come to this last gas station. We did it like 3 or 4 times. And we finally found it. We were ready to give up, and we finally found it. So the road in this graveyard was like a U. No lights, just a bare 2-track driveway kind of a thing. We start driving down it. Tracy's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. We start to make our way, and it's super dark. Like, absolutely the kind of dark where you can barely see 15 feet in front of you with the headlights. So we're driving. We go to make the left around the horseshoe, and I swear there was something that walked out. It could have been a possum. It could have been a raccoon. It could have been anything, but something that just walked outside of the headlights. We're like, well, fuck. Like, this place is legit. So we kind of made the turn and stopped. And Tracy's like, I ain't getting out of the fucking car. This is if this is legit, I don't want to be part of it. Well, okay, I'll get out of the car. So the story we were told about it is there was 4 headstones of this older family from the 1800s. They were the first headstones put in there. And back in the day, in the 1800s, people would kind of make the cemetery their meeting area, because there really wasn't anything else to do. So like when the grandparents died, the family would go have picnics at the cemetery, and they would make a thing to involve the family. So with those being the first headstones there and everything else being newer, they were all white and oxidized like they get, where you can kind of see the name, and we were supposed to look for those. So when we parked and we found them, I'm like, oh, I'm going to walk over there and see them. So I got out of the passenger door. Tracy left the headlights on, and I go walking to them. And while I'm walking, there's about a belly, like my belly height, headstone. And I'm 5'7" for people who don't know what I am. I'm gorgeous, but I'm 5'7".
Yes, you are.
Don't laugh. It's true.
I'm laughing because it's true.
So I'm kind of walking towards them, and I don't know if anyone's old enough to know what a bonnet is, but as I'm walking, I'm looking at those headstones. My eyes kind of peek up, and there's what I seen as a little girl with her hands on top of the headstone, kind of peeking over, and all you can see is bonnet and eyes. So I was like, fuck this. So I turn around and go to walk back to the car, and I see Tracy's, and when I say white, I mean as white as translucent can be. Her hands are on the steering wheel, and I hear the car revving. And
She's
at
about
that
to
point,
hit you.
and at that point, I'm like, if I don't get in this car, I am stuck here. So I go kind of getting pretty quick to the car, but I had my hand on my camera. I took a picture as I'm basically running. I'm speed walking, and I get in the car. Before I can get the car door shut, she fucking floors it, and we get out of there and make the turn. And the second we make the turn, she's sobbing, crying, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't expect there actually to be things to be scared of.
Wait, did she see it? Or what did she see?
And that's the thing, is when we were driving, I'm trying to get out of her. I'm like, did you see it? What did you see? Did you see her? And it took me like 4 months to finally get out of her, like, of constant nagging. What did you see? What did you see? And
she's carving things into her arm, writing the same thing on the wall.
And she's like, I seen the little girl, but that wasn't the problem. She's like, I was absolutely saddened because 2 rows of headstones behind the little girl, there was something else in all black, and it was coming for the little girl. Like, the little girl wasn't supposed to be there and saying hi, because she's just a little girl. But she was like 2 full rows behind. It was coming at her or at you. And she just freaked out. It's the only time she's never went before. Or she's never went after.
Is her dad who got her? What are you doing?
I don't know. And from that point on, she had never went, and I really tamed down until we started doing the tours at the old Des Moines barracks.
So does part of you believe that could have been actual people there just...
No, absolutely not.
No?
No. Because we had our headlights on them. If they were people, we would have been able to tell.
See, how do you explain that, Justin?
I wasn't there. I can't really. I only go by a story here.
Exactly. It's just word of mouth. But for me, in my 98% not believing it, I could not disprove it. Like,
I would have to go there. Need substantial evidence.
Everything else. And I've went back there during the day, and I've went back there at night. There's no reason why that should have happened. But it happened.
See, I don't put too much stock into ghosts or too much, I guess, paranormal. But I still like the stories. I still let it be a scare or a fright for me.
Because it's entertainment.
Yeah. It's like I don't necessarily have much of a belief in, like, religion, but I always find, like, angels fascinating. That's kind of one of my earliest writing topics were usually, like, angels. But
well, I got a couple more stories. This one, again, was back during our ghost hunting days, and we were at a cemetery, and the cemetery was literally on a hill that came to a point. So you enter at the bottom, you drive up the hill, and when you get to the top, I mean, I don't even know how much to say the top, how long it was, how many feet wide it was.
I can't go off of that.
But so we parked at the top of it, and literally between where the car was to the fence that was the end of the property line of the cemetery, I'd say it was probably about 20 feet. And then the rest of it's just all downhill, and that's where the trees and the gravestones, headstones were at. So we're at the cemetery at night, and we're probably about midway down the hill. And we see a car with its headlights pull up, and I mean, there's only one way into the cemetery, one gate, and it stops at the gate area, and it's just parked there. And we were all like froze solid because we didn't know if it was a cop, if it was somebody that was going to fuck with us. And we were pretty, pretty paranoid about things anyways, because we were literally there to ghost hunt, but there was a lot of people that were doing,
we're doing drugs.
Yeah.
It's easier to explain to people.
There's a lot of people vandalizing cemeteries, and we just didn't like, if we went to a cemetery and there was vandalism, we'd leave right away, because it's just like automatically, if we get caught there, we're going to get blamed for that. Right. So this car slowly starts coming into the cemetery. And so we didn't want to run to the car. So we started running downhill the opposite corner of where this car was coming up. And so we're running downhill, and keep in mind, we're parked at the top of the hill. We're running downhill, and we come to our car. Somehow, some way, all of us were, like, it was dark out. We were all You know, like when you're running and laughing and stuff like that hysterically because it's just like I don't know what we found funny, but we're all just running and laughing. So like your mind's not fully into anything, but we all know that we were running downhill and we somehow came to the car.
So were you on the top of the hill from running downhill?
We were in the middle of the hill.
So
we were on top of the hill. Yes. We were literally right where the car was at.
Somebody didn't put the parking brake on?
I knew you were going to say that. We went back the next day during daylight to try to figure this out because we were all baffled as to how we came across the car. Where we were at when we saw that car pull in there from the direction that we ran, there is no possible way that we could have come across the car where it was parked at because it was parked in the same exact spot where we parked it at the top of the hill at the cemetery, 20 feet from the property line. So I don't know how to explain. I mean, we really didn't come in contact with anything like a spiritual or anything like that. But
that seems like an easy explanation. Obviously, it's dark. You're parked on all the way up on this hill. So the elevation, the lack of oxygen, it allowed you to hallucinate a little bit. So, boom.
Where's the tangible or the fact? Like it's an explanation.
Yeah.
But there's no you can't prove that's the explanation.
See, brains are stupid.
Brains are very stupid.
And very smart.
But
so when it tries
my brain isn't that stupid to know that.
No, your brain is very stupid.
There's no way the side of the car that we came across.
Tell him his brain is stupid.
His brain is very smart. He does things with a camera and a mind that just blow my mind.
Huh.
Physically.
And he does things with his mouth that blow my mind.
Obviously not, because he didn't have a camera there.
We did. It was a disposable one, and all we got are orbs on it, which are bugs or dust or whatever.
Or light. My mom, when I was about 14 or 15, working at this little restaurant in a little small town, my mom, I had a talk boy. Like you remember the talk boys from Home Alone
yak back.
Hi kid, that's on my list for today.
Same here.
Hi kids, we're home early.
So I had one of those, and that's what I used to record ghost hunting with. And me and this girl who lived across the street.
Does Tracy know about her?
Oh, she liked vagina more than I did.
Tracy?
No.
Oh.
I hope
she knows about Tracy.
Like, nice.
But no, this girl, her name was Kayla. But I would work until I got off work, and then me and her would go up to the cemetery in the little town I worked at, because I worked in the kitchen, and I would have to wait till people got off drinking at 2:00 and to get a ride home from somebody.
That's not responsible.
Well, I had to drive them home. Oh. That's how I learned to drive. Funny enough, driving drunk farmers home.
Same here. Yeah. It was my parents.
So we would go up to the cemetery with my talk boy, and that was before we really knew how to do EVPs. So we would just turn on the talk boy and sit it and leave it. And then I would sit in my room bored during the day, and I would listen to hours of blank audio. Well, one day my mom, in her instant wisdom, or her infinite wisdom, thought it would be so funny to scare the shit out of me, and she knew I would be sitting there listening to the audio. She recorded over a small section of audio just her screaming. It scared the shit out of me so bad. But if you knew my mother, you would understand, because she is an evil tiny woman, and I love her to death.
Honestly, I've met her a couple of times, and that makes me laugh.
But yeah, it was just nothing, and then her screaming and laughing, and then back to nothing.
You know, that's one thing, because I took ghost hunting seriously, because I take spirits seriously because they're somebody's loved ones.
Yeah,
and you
absolutely.
can make jokes about it, but at the end of the day, you know, that's going to be meaningful to somebody to know, like, hey, I caught your dad or whoever it was on tape, especially the one that's saying, help me.
Right.
Like, obviously a spirit needs help, and it sounded scared to death. And it's like, yeah, we can make crack jokes about it all we want, but, you know, that could be something serious.
Right.
And that's, you know, that could be crucial evidence for somebody that's still here on earth that, you know, maybe that person was murdered.
Right.
And they don't know who did it or what. It could be an ongoing investigation.
Right.
And
have you ever gone to the squirrel prison?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a...
We had a Groupon once, so we got in for cheap.
One of the chicks
It was during the day, but...
worked with my wife. She kind of she does her own ghost hunting thing. And she has means to utilize that space.
Yeah.
and she kind of like showed us some stuff and played some audio, and it's like, I think
it's a big echoey building.
Yeah, and if you're told up front, this is like they prepare you what to hear, like they can take some audio and it's like, now you're gonna hear this, and so it's like, yeah, you're looking for it, but it could have been anything. It sounds like it could have been a voice, but it's so faint that nothing is definite.
Yeah, and that's the problem with leading the witness. It's like right now you're gonna hear the sound of someone farting on a snare drum, and you're instantly gonna be like, "Oh, I've totally fucking heard it.
I can smell it too."
Because they kind of do that on a lot of the ghost investigating shows too, where there's like, now right here you're gonna hear a voice say, "What we think is he's in the basement," and like you listen to it, and I mean it's like, and it's like, okay, if I didn't know what you said, that wouldn't sound like he's in the basement. But then because I said it, it's like, he's in the basement. It's like, I heard it.
Right.
Like, so
the fucking Ghost Adventures guys, those douche nozzles are the worst about it.
Oh my God, what was that?
I forgot. Did you smell that? No, because you're on fucking TV. I didn't smell it.
But it'd be weird if you did.
But you know what's weird? I've hated those guys from the jump. Like, one, they literally are hipster douchebags. And two, like, when me and Tracy first started dating, like way back in the day, they had their very first special. And I'm not one to call somebody out on their bullshit too often unless they really push it. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. When you're having a ghost special and you're randomly walking around a building with a camera and the whole time it's swooping and flailing around, and you randomly decide to take a 1 minute break and hold it in one exact spot, and a brick just happens to jump away on the one exact spot you decide to hold the camera light on, that's bullshit.
Oh, yeah. I think this is giving me some ideas for a future Shorty's film comedy movie of us as ghost adventurers or somebody.
That'd be fucking great.
Speaking of kind of comedy, this is more of an orchestrated type of thing. Not necessarily ghosts or, demons more so. So my old roommate, Theo, awesome dude, big black guy raised by like stereotypical black
rolling
women.
Sound.
Not that one. But no. I mean, he has like those mannerisms of like, stereotypical black women, like, girl, no, So he let me download like some of his, or rip some of his CDs and stuff, and I had it on my computer. That way we can just like shuffle our music together and, skip all of my stuff and just play his stuff.
You're a really huge Kenny G fan.
Hey, so there's a artist named Trina, and I mean, dirty rapper. She's pretty cool. So I used some of her music, and then I put my own voice to it and ripped a whole song for it. And I was like, Theo, I want your soul, or whatever. I forget exactly what I said, but I was at work at this time, and so I like to fuck with him every now and then, and sometimes unintentionally, like he'd get scared of some things that I did or didn't do or something like that. And it's like, dude, I wasn't even there, like, So, anyways, I came home and he was sitting in his car, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? He's like, I was listening to my music, and something says like, I want your soul, and he's heavy Catholic, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This
is going to sound like one of the most racist things that's ever came out of my mouth, and I'm not even sad about it. Scared black people are one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen 100%. In my life.
Don't open the door.
Being like a security guard at a haunted attraction in town, African American adult men are the most scared.
Absolutely.
And
fucking great.
They are the best because
the reactions are real.
The things they say, because it's like they're scared, but they're cracking jokes
trying
at the same
to be
time.
Tough, yeah.
And you see them bolt, because like one of the last rooms involves chainsaws, and it's like, if
they come
the
out,
person
like,
holding the chainsaw sees somebody dart off running, naturally they're going to run after him because that person's scared. And it's just so funny from my vantage point at the ticket booth. I hear the and then all of a sudden I just see some African-American guy bolting across the parking lot 100 miles per hour.
Leaving their woman.
Oh, yeah. Who's laughing.
It's like, I was about to deck you in the face. A little dookie come out of my booty hole.
We were at the Beast in Kansas City, and we got put with a group of 3 huge black dudes and one teeny tiny little black woman. And we're going through. That haunted house is like an hour and 40 minutes if you take your time. And the biggest of the black dudes, he had to be 6'6", 6'7", and probably 250. Just like a huge...
He just said 3 6s. You said that?
Just a huge brick shit house. And we're going through, and they know that the workers knew these guys were going to jump at everything, so they're just fucking destroying them. And the girl was deathly afraid of clowns, so a clown popped out, and it was the funniest shit I ever heard. The smallest of the black dudes goes, "Safety circle!" And they just started all their backs got around her, and they all started rotating around the girl. And then a little bit went on later, and the biggest one of them all, you heard somebody screaming from the other room, "Get in here!" And he's like, "No, fuck you, it's safe right here." And his friends are trying to push him. He's like, "Huh, it's safe right here, I ain't going." And so we went around him, and his friends are like, "Look, the little white girl's going in front of you, pussy."
I could tell a lot of stories from the haunted house, but that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, that's another day.
This is off topic, but you had said something about like a CD before, and it made me think of something that happened on Tuesday. I was just at work and working on something. My mind randomly thinks about things, and I just started outbursting. And I'm only telling this story because you know him, our buddy John Marshall. Back, this has been like 2006, 2007, 2008. Back before like iPods, iPhones, iTunes, stuff like that. He would burn CDs for me. I'd make a list of songs that I want, and he puts like 15 to 20 songs on it and stuff. So I had I had made a list of all these songs I wanted him to make. So he'd burn it, and usually he would write on the back, the track, the name of the song and stuff like that. Well, this one, he didn't write any of the names of the actual songs that are on there. He started making up things, and there was like 16 songs on there, and they were all names like, and this is like these are literally names he came up with, but like one of the tracks was labeled Moose Knuckle Children. There was one called like Hairy Taint and
Nice
Big Nipples and stuff. And the last one on there, track like 16, was just labeled Titanic Theme. And that's just like, I to this day, like I just will randomly think about that and just bust out laughing, because it's just like I'm just picturing him writing everything, and then it's just like Titanic Theme.
That fucking guy.
So you handed us some stuff.
I did, Lonnie. Yeah. We're ready to go on to the game tonight. As you see, you each have 2 pieces of paper. One has a C and one has an S.
Mine has an N and a squiggle.
Perfect. You're probably going to lose this game then.
Oh.
So
Sideways.
Before we get into the game, to recap on number of wins, Justin still has 1 win.
Yes.
And you and I are tied at 2.
2 wins, yes.
Now, we are getting awfully close to the end of the year here. I think we only have 2 more episodes after this. And at the end of 2020, we tally up, and whoever has the least amount gets punished.
He's getting punished.
So, Justin,
what's up?
You better start doing it.
No, I'm going to win this.
You probably will, because I know shit about Satanism and...
All right. And basically, this is going to be an easy challenge. So what this challenge is I took tenements from Christianity and tenements from Satanism.
From the Bible?
The holy fucking Bible?
From Christianity and Catholicism, and from LaVeyan Satanism, and from Greaves Satanism. And I kind of changed the wording around in them, and I'm going to read them to you guys. You have to decide if it's a Satanism value or a Christianity value. That's what the C and the S are.
We couldn't have just said Christianity.
Well, no, because if you say them, the other person could change their mind.
Oh, gotcha. So we have to make our final decision, then hold it up at the same time?
Yeah, sir.
Got it.
All right.
All right.
Eyes ready.
And I got...
It's in your hand.
Is that dog outside serious? It's been barking for...
Maybe he's barking out of goats.
It does it for fucking days.
He's barking out of goats.
All right. First one. Do not covet what is not yours, including other man's wife or woman's wife.
Ready?
Go for it. You are both correct. See, you thought this was going to be hard.
But we always say that, and then the next one's like...
The answer was Christianity or Catholicism.
It was correct. It was Christianity, Catholicism. Don't harm the young. You are both correct again. It was Satanism.
How many are there total?
10.
Good job.
We're going to end in a tie. You too.
The freedom of others should be respected. Justin got that one correct. It is Satanism.
Oh, I'll take the loss, but I literally thought that I had the S, but I will take that loss because I held the C up.
Well, no, if you're being honest.
I am 100% honest.
I'll let him have
it. Yeah, I trust you.
That's why you said, I'm like, what the fuck? But
what question did I just ask?
The children should be respected.
Oh, yeah, I already crossed it out.
Very deeply satanic value.
I have my C and S upright
if
now,
you
so I can see
look into biblical stories, the kids get punished. You can kill them if they backtalk and stuff. You're supposed to take them.
That's why you used to have 3 kids.
Well, they backtalk.
All right, next.
One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all men. Jeremy is correct.
What is that? What is that value?
What's that?
That's Christianity.
Oh, actually, yeah, because it does kind of state something like you can be a dick.
Yeah,
especially if they're being a dick.
Don't fucking murder people.
This one's kind of hard. I'm just gonna go with this one.
It is thou shalt not kill. That is
but
in the
also
10
says,
Commandments.
It also says thou shalt not
Did you
suffer
get it?
a witch.
Did you get it?
I got Satanism.
Oh, so you did not get it.
But it also says to kill people, to go into the village and kill. So it was kind of... You're going off of tenets alone?
No, I'm going off what it says in their books.
Oh, well, Christianity says to kill a lot.
In this game, you got it wrong.
Damn
the
it.
score is 5-3. Jeremy is in the lead. All right. The freedom of others should be respected. You are both correct. It is a Satanism value.
Wow, like going to CCD back when I was in grade school at my church, kind of paid off.
Paid off a little bit. See, you guys thought this was going to be hard. All right. This one should be easy. If you worship anyone else, you'll be destroyed.
You said easy? I don't know what it is, but I think I'm wrong.
You are incorrect. It is Christianity values. Thou shalt not worship false idols.
So what's the score now?
It is
4-5.
Jeremy, you are at 6. Justin, you are at 5.
And we have how many more questions?
Let's see. We are 1, 2, 3, 4 left.
That's more than 10.
Dun.
That's more than 10 questions.
2, 3,
If we're at 6.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So I've only gotten 1.
Yeah.
Good job.
Shishi.
Jeremy.
Honor the people who gave you life. You are both correct. It is a Christian value. It says so in the 10 Commandments.
Which 10?
The 10 important ones.
Well, there's 40 versions of it.
The Christian 10.
Well, I mean, like, there's 40 versions in the Christian 10.
Edition 1.
Because Moses, there's 2 parts
Stop it!
where Moses comes down and breaks the tablets in his little fit and then goes back up the mountain and gets 10 more.
I don't think you're watching the Charlton Heston version.
That's in the Bible.
Do not make images of yourself, only images of me. Justin ties it up. Oh, yeah, Justin ties it up 7-7. It was a Christian.
Do you feel that?
It was a Christian value. 2 left, gentlemen, and we are tied.
No idols.
All right. Question number 9. You are required to take a day off.
Where is it?
You are both correct.
Keep the Sabbath holy.
Oh, shit. We're tied 8-8.
No one shall work on the Sabbath.
We've got 1 left. Probably going to choke.
Number 10. Mankind is fallible. If humanity makes a mistake, they can and will be destroyed at my will.
That's a tough one to end on.
Mankind is fallible?
Fallible.
Oh.
Going with my gut on this one.
Justin takes the win.
Boom.
It's a Christian value.
So we're 2-2-2. All of us.
We all have 2 points.
Barely. I was trying to build the suspense and lose and then come back and then
Shut up.
take it out.
But we are
said
we
that
are
it didn't
all
work.
beating Dustin Ferguson and David Howard Thornton. They all have 1 point.
They need to step their games up.
Yeah, they do.
We should call them up and have them battle each other
What do you mean?
in a game.
Rap battle?
Yes.
We should
Oh,
do
God,
rap
no,
battles.
please.
Well,
No,
Yeah,
no
let's
rap.
do a rap battle.
No rap battles.
Bust a beat.
This
Bust a
fucking
beat.
pen broke in the middle of writing. I'll put it here. Bucket of pins. Well, fellas,
Mr. Bucket.
that brings us down to our main topic of the night.
Which I'm going to be quiet for because I know shit about it.
It is my archetypes.
So you can mute my mic.
You can throw some info in.
I think you might have some.
I think you know more about
You're going
it.
to learn some things. And things that you already know, I'm sure.
Do I really want to learn about this, though?
Yeah.
Why would you not?
It's always best to know the
I think you will learn a bunch of stuff you didn't know.
Well, yeah. Everything you say is going to be stuff I didn't know because I don't know anything about Satanism.
What are we doing? What is
Doing the
topic?
history of Satanism.
The history of Satanism.
You use the word history, and I hate history.
Because it's his story. His story.
Okay, Theo.
Sorry.
Gonna try to keep it under 20 minutes.
All right.
You okay there?
Yeah, so I got to get it in my
Look
head.
like you got a twitch.
It's called rhythm.
Do your
Bitch.
Do your moan sound effect.
Do I have a? I do have one.
Do you have? You play it like every freaking episode. What are
I'm
you
sorry.
talking about?
I just not every episode.
This is the sound I make when I stretch.
Oh, that was.
Jesus Christ!
I know. I get you going. This ain't a soft episode at all.
Okay. So,
All right.
What is that? What is that? Oh my god.
oh, you bastard. I get it. It's 11:11. He wrote it on a piece of paper. It doesn't work that way.
I didn't write on that. It rubbed up against my pen.
Yes.
That's what she said.
10 or 15. All right. So our main topic tonight, I'm going to give you some history and tell you some unknown facts about Satanism.
Yes, Dark Father. Do we call
Because thou shalt play with my nipples.
you? Yes, Leather Daddy.
His shirt is off and he's putting on face paint.
We call him Leather Daddy Lonnie.
You can just call me Father.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Is there a specific? What is a hierarchy? Is there a naming?
There is in the COS. I do not practice teachings of the COS.
Right.
I am in the
Church of
TST.
Satan. Church of Satan.
Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple are the two prime branches of the Satanic worship, which we'll get into.
We're going to worship Satan.
We are not going to worship Satan. That is another misconception about Satanism that we will cover. Quick thing, the actual only religions that believe in Satan are Christianity and Catholicism. Those are the only two religions that believe in that there is a Satan. No other religions do, including Satanism. Correct.
Thank you.
By the way, our two listeners are probably tuned out at this point.
Oh, why? They can learn some things.
You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today.
Okay.
All right. So, the first group that Satanism strived from and kind of made their step to the mainstream was the Church of Satan, which was created by Anton Salazar LaVey in 1966 in San Francisco.
Well, with a name like that, of course, that's what you're going to...
Right. And that is...
Because his name is Anton
Salazar. He basically wanted a counterculture to Christianity. But, like I said, Christians believe in Satan as a deity. Satanists do not. For Satanists, it's just better than being an atheist. It just gives you a focusing point rather than just saying you don't believe in anything. It gives you focus. It gives you a group mentality. So Antoine LaVey created his Satanic Bible with his teachings in it. He had numerous amounts of followers that still exist today. They have a Twitter. If any of you have Twitter and you want to follow the Church of Satan,
How often do they twat?
20, 30 times a day, but they're very...
That's past tensive.
They're very counterculture-esque, like very non-metal. So, I mean, it's to each your own. The group I follow, which is you're going to get the majority of the time today, is the Satanic Temple, which was actually formed in 2013, which actually wasn't that long ago in retrospect, 7 years ago.
Like a baby religion.
Right, from created by Lucian Greaves and Malcolm Jerry, headquartered in Salem.
Was he in the middle?
What do you mean, was he in? Shut up.
Sorry. Why? Give me that.
No, I'm just shaking my head. The minute he said, is he in the middle? And I almost did a palm to the forehead type thing.
The reason I believe more in Greaves and the TST more is because for someone who grew up religious and got away from it, the TST believes more in a religious pluralism.
Yeah.
They believe more in the, well, if you get it, speaking of Christianity, why can't we get it? They want religious rights, and they want to be treated equally.
They're more based with, like, from the way I understand it, they're more humanist.
Right. Humanist to the fact of they have schooling. They have a teaching program. They have lots of their own, like when COVID started and the kids had to come home, they gave numerous amounts of tens of thousands of dollars to teachers to teach their students and donate money to their students. They have lots of drives for homeless females to help them with their girl problems, menstruation and sexual health problems.
Since all the what are they called? Parenting, what is it? That they're always, the Christians, they're trying to shut down like Planned Parenthood and stuff like that. So they help and pitch in with that. Because most forward or louder Christians think Planned Parenthood is pretty much all about abortion, which this whole abortion thing is kind of a new thing. It hadn't reached its peak until like early 2000s or so, until like there was a few pastors who were just making that like the primary topic to put their hooks in for emotional.
Well, Christians are all about big families. I mean, I grew up Catholic, but I had a couple friends that were Christian and their family was really into Christianity. And I mean, they're like, they had like 5 siblings each. So it's like they believe in.
Yeah, get them young too.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that the TST did, they actually went to bat for the right to abortion and their religious freedoms. They got a law passed where at some clinics, when you went in, they would make you go through, I don't know if it's like a class or a certain period of time where they would have you go and talk to a pastor or have you...
They would do some like counseling. I think it was like a 20-day counseling or something.
Basically,
sometimes that pushes you into like the trimester where you couldn't...
Right. They basically gaslight you.
Right.
And so they made it that anyone of the Satanism faith could opt out claiming their faith, which I think is absolutely amazing and good for them. I'm very pro whatever the female thinks is best stance when it comes to pro-life, pro-choice.
It's their own autonomy.
Yeah, I think as a man, we should not get a choice in that matter.
I think there's
like we chose by knocking up a female. Oh, yeah. Like that's the only choice we have.
Very small situations where you should be the one who chooses, which is in the case of like if she's unconscious, as like put into like a vegetable state, but still viable for a pregnancy or something like that. But yeah,
well, yeah. And we got in this a little bit with the game and some of the tenements for the TST, and I'll read a couple of the ones that people like the kids. Like, don't harm children. Like, how many times have you heard that at a like a Christian or Catholic? Yeah. Another one's body is invaluable, subject to their own will, saying my body is mine. Don't touch it. Don't like that should be of value. There's others that are the struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over law and institute.
These are pretty much primarily from their tenets.
These are the tenets.
Can you read verbatim?
Yeah. The first tenet is one should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with the reason.
I agree.
The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutes.
I think so.
one's body is invaluable, subject to one's own will alone.
Right. You should have your right to your...
The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedoms to offend.
That's humanist. If someone's going to be a dick back.
To will fully and to unjustly encroach upon freedoms of another is to forego one's own.
Right. If somebody's trying to take your rights away, they should get their rights taken away.
Right. Beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's belief.
Be a little skeptical.
People are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused.
Agree.
And then the last one. Every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in actions and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word.
Yeah. So, do you agree to all that?
Sure.
What's it like to be a Satanist?
I don't know. I'm not one. I'm not one. No.
You just don't want to...
There was a couple I agreed with. Other ones I...
What did you have an issue with? I don't think he's paying attention.
To tell you the first part of it, I was not listening to because I was thinking of something that I was going to say. And then but no, like one I really agree with is like everybody is entitled to like their own body and make their own decisions, type things like that. I think that should be a given.
Right.
But
one thing that I really like about, I am familiar with lots of the works, especially in like the skeptical community, with which the Satanic Temple and stuff does, especially to make people question. Like if somebody wants to, like, we're going to put this religious statue on the courthouse, steps or something like that to symbolize whatever. It's like, well, you can't do that because it's against the law. And if you can do that, then, the Satanic Temple puts like the statue of Baphomet and on, and then if like they don't want that, then they have to take their statue down because you're getting the equal rights there.
Right.
If you don't want the equal rights, you're not asking for equal rights. You're asking for special privilege. And as far as like the Christianity and stuff like that.
Well, it's in essence the same thing as, well, if they can have a Christianity statue, what is the difference of someone asking for a Hebrew statue?
Right.
Like, in essence, that's the same thing. That's what they're asking for when they're asking for religious pluralism. They're just asking for that equal chance.
Right.
And there needed to be that voice for the voiceless. And Satanism and the TST were brave enough to have that voice.
Right. There's certain tenets and stuff that says, like, don't question things, and
but why?
Yeah. It's like, why? And that's kind of a question in itself. Whereas I don't even know if it is a religion, but it's also kind of like,
it's almost like an empowerment movement.
Right. It's like, it's more of authority, and it shouldn't necessarily be. Whereas the temple, Satanic Temple and stuff, they use it more of a community, and also to get the same rights or withdraw certain things to not be forced on you when it comes to like medical or parenting and stuff like that.
Right.
Wow, where was I going with this? But yeah, no, they push the question back into it. You get billboards there's like, you're going to hell, like if you're driving down to like Iowa or something like that, and on like the long roads and stuff, and you get quite a bit of those biblical billboards. It's like, well, you're kind of pushing that too. But if let's just keep in the same vein. If a Satanist puts up a billboard, it's going to be vandalized. It's like you're not even going to respect the same rights that other people have. It's like, just question it. Question it. If it is it doing all that harm?
Right.
If you feel, like you're ingrained to feel like it's doing harm to your soul. I'm not really much to believe that we actually have like a soul either. There's not necessarily a I still think it's fascinating. It's poetic. It's cool, right. But I don't feel like there's proof of soul.
Then how do you explain Luther Vandross's voice? That's full of soul.
Well, there's a big difference between the COS and the TST. A lot of the values, and it's in their 11 rules and it's called the Acknowledgement of Power Through Magic that the COS has. So they are outright talking about the use of magic, and theirs says, acknowledge the power of magic if you have employed it successfully to obtain your desires. If you deny the power of magic after having called upon it with success, you will lose all you have obtained. So they're acknowledging the fact that magics exist, and that is something that TST does not do. So reading into that, you almost think that they're asking for that external power, and that gets into the Hebrew side of things. And you start, and this is where I kind of get into where growing up Jewish and really studying the Quran. Yeah. So, and it kind of revolves around to King Solomon and King Solomon's use of spirits and demons to get to being the richest king of all time, where he was able to harness the demons and create the 72 keys, the lesser keys of Solomon, where he was able to trap said demons and get use out of said demons and build his palace.
I just got to say, for being money-grubbing, stingy, sort of Jewish, they're pretty vast in their creative senses.
Absolutely, yeah.
With the Kabbalah and all that Quran type of,
Right.
I like that.
But, yeah, with the 72 keys of Solomon, they go through the magics on how to summon the demon, how to basically trap the demon, how to get use out of them, what incense is, what flowers, what sigils you need, what the speech, the summoning rituals, all these things you need. And you can buy it in fucking paperback form on the Wish app.
You can get it for free if you download an app.
There's a fucking audiobook version of it on YouTube.
Nice.
And
what is that, like 13 hours?
Just like 25 hours. But and it was an ancient text from the early 14th century. Yeah, and it's still practiced today. I mean, I have a sigil on my body, but it's more of a remembrance.
So you're going to show us?
Oh, you've seen it before.
A lot of people have seen it. Just subscribe to his OnlyFans.
Links below.
$10 a month.
I'll give you $10 a month to look at my body.
That's what I meant.
Girl, look at that body.
We're paying you to stop.
Please. But yeah, and that's the difference between Antoine LaVey's teaching and Aleister Crowley. Like, he was a big believer in Crowley, where TST is believing more in the people and more in the community aspect. And there's an awesome documentary on Hulu called Hail Satan ? Which was about the rise of the TST and how almost, like, in the beginning, it was made almost as a joke. Like, I can't remember the guy's name. Rick Scott, I think, was the super religious guy running for Senate. And they basically made the TST
the counter to the...
No, they Satanists are backing Rick Scott. Like,
they're pretty
Satan for Rick Scott. And they went and made a scene where they not counter protested, but they had a march where it was Satanist for Rick Scott. We endorse Rick Scott, just because they didn't like him because he was super religious.
I like how they get a little edgy. I mean, so my understanding necessarily for Church of Satan, Anton LaVey's, is he's all about he does drive community, but he's more so about the bells and whistles, the look of things.
Absolutely,
to make it look like it's something, and he obviously knows that it's all bullshit, but
Absolutely,
it's for the people.
Yeah, and he's where the tiers come in, where the different colored robes determines what tier you are, and that's different financial aspects of what you pay in.
For him, it's lucrative,
right?
But whereas for the temple, the Satanic Temple and stuff, it's more progressive.
$25, you get your card and you get your acknowledgement, or you don't have to pay. And
unless you're a figure and you can just get absorbed into it, like Marilyn Manson. But no, I like how they challenge thought. And I kind of, I've always kind of been against, like, if you guys have attended church services and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of, like, one thing that I cannot stand about major religion is like when they tell you what to think and not how to think. Whereas certain forms of thought is like, you should be skeptical. You should question things, especially if it's harming people. Like certain, like, why is this more important than this? Why is this, if you're just going off of like biblical tenets, why am I supposed to worship you for like what 4 major tenets and or commandments? But I think, going back to like Satanists and stuff like that, is like, they'll get their gatherings and stuff and say, oh, the Satanists are going to be coming to this and they're evil and they're bad. And it's like,
are they?
You don't even know their, their. Well, let's go back to tenets. You don't know their tenets, their values and stuff like that.
Well, and
they're trying to live just like you,
right? And the thing is that it's been so ingrained in people's head that Satanists are gonna sacrifice your children to Satan. They're gonna do this and this because of Satan, and this and this because of Satan. And it's like
they don't believe in Satan.
They don't believe in Satan, and the people who do, it's like, man, Satan turned into a snake in the Garden of Eden, and he got Eve to eat the apple. No, like the whole thing was God was keeping information from them. Like all this that existed outside of him, he was keeping from them. The snake was just like, hey, I'm just letting you know that there's this whole vast world out there. All you have to do is eat this apple. I'm not forcing you to, but there's a whole vast world out there that you don't know about.
Some people say, like, if you're keeping information that's pretty much similar to lying.
Basically. Well, and the other thing, too, when Jesus was fasting in the desert and he was tempted by water, he wasn't tempting him. He was like, dude, you're fucking dying. Just have some water. This is going to do nothing. Like, you're going to die anyway. We all know you're going to die.
Jesus, my man, Jesus. Just drink.
Just drink.
Have a cup. Yeah. Interesting. I think I've learned a thing or two. Just one, maybe not two. Cool.
Jeremy, anything you want to say?
Thoughts?
No.
Concerns?
No, I'm not one to discuss like religious things, so I just sat back and listened.
Oh.
What about anti-religious things?
Same. I don't like to discuss things like that. So,
do you find it like interesting at all?
No,
not so much. No. I've always find it interesting. Like I like the biblical stories, and I guess Satanism, as far as I know, they don't have stories.
No.
I mean,
no stories, no future. The closest thing Satanists get to a religious story is during Black Masses.
Right. Yeah, that I'm not too big on as my knowledge base, I guess. I just know that there's their annual Black Mass. Yeah. Is it annual or is it or
the last one I knew about, it took place in like 2013 or 14. That's the last one I knew of.
So you're saying that they're abiding by COVID
special
regulations, and
there was a pink mass. The pink mass was awesome.
Isn't that
the head of the what was it? The church, the one that everybody hates, the Westboro Baptist Church. Yeah, when one of their leaders died, they had a pink mass where they took a whole bunch of the homosexual members of the TST, and they went down and just had like a giant.
Don't they do like their well, I guess the Westboro or whatever, they can convert them after death, kind of like Mormons and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
So it's like, so now they're Mormons, or now they're Westboro,
Yeah, so a bunch of the homosexual members of the TST went and had sex on their grave. They had a big giant orgy trying to make him gay.
And it worked.
Yeah.
He's a gay ghost now.
He's gay. Yeah.
Comes back at 11:11.
We were on tour. The band I was in was on tour, and they were protesting something. So we stole the Bible from our hotel we were staying at, and we threw it at him. And then we threw a half-used jar of mayonnaise. I don't know why it was.
That's a worse offense.
Yeah, it was four dumb kids in a van. Well,
I'm just watching your pecker moving back and forth. His Bill Pecker, his hat. He's just like,
it's like a tennis match.
Well, let's wrap this bitch up. What's on for next week? Who's I
haven't got a host one for a long time.
Well, you're running this ship next week. What can we look forward to?
Well, you kind of with this whole twist you did kind of ruined one of my ones that we're doing next week, but we're still going to do it. I need some information from you guys before we go. So one of the topics we were supposed to talk about is toys that from our past that we liked and ones we always wanted. So I wanted you guys to tell me your top toy that you always wanted but never got.
Ooh. You want us to do that live? I think I might have to think about that one.
Think about it, because I want it to be something that you really have always wanted. I want like your top 3 toys that you always wanted but you never had, and we're going to see how well you know them.
Might have been a game system or something. I don't know.
Toy. I'm not talking like no like electronic. Electronics don't count as toys for me. I'm talking like a game or a toy. And we're going to see how well you know it. And I need your top 3 that you always wanted.
All right.
And other than that, it's going to be a fun episode. And
we're going to make a Santa wish list here.
There's not going to be any religious talk on the next episode. So those
we can make that happen.
Tuned out.
I can't believe you guys thought there wasn't going to be a twist. Like, how long have you known me?
I don't know.
I've known you less.
I still think that it would have been fun with all the stuff that we had here.
We're not losing it. That's going to be my next episode.
I've known you
regardless if it was that
13
this
podcasts.
Or the super soft episode. I was going to do the other one my next episode. So keep your notes, boys.
Twist.
I literally had both of those.
Pop it. Twist it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, we will be back on December 7th for episode 14th, led by Jeremy.
It seems so far away.
I know. This one came up fast for
Just
me.
a number. December 7th doesn't exist.
Episode
so far away.
14. And
Boom.
Wow. Yeah.
14 teen.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Be safe. Make smart decisions.
Or bad ones. It's okay. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in to the Boundless PodTrap. Don't hate us and defund us because I talked about spooky stuff.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Join us next time for more absurdity that only the guys from the Boundless PodTrap can bring you.